Hey Windwalkers, Pie's tip of the day. If you're standing around waiting for a battleground to start and you got lots of time left, spam some abilities. Zen Sphere is great. Build up 10 stacks of Tiger Eye Brew, start the battleground out with a bang. Now, go get some. Hello again all, this is Eatmopie, and a lot of people ask me all the time, comments in messages on Facebook, what macros do I use, what add-ons do I use, what key bindings do I use, and I figured, you know what, I'm just going to make one video as quickly as I can and short as possible and show everybody everything that I use. So first of all, I'm going to start off with my add-ons, and they're very simple. I don't use very many. You'll notice that I have an add-on button. That is called Add-on Control Panel. I highly recommend it for anybody. All it does is allows you to turn off and on your add-ons without logging out of the game. So you can see I have Deadly Boss mods. I keep that off all the time unless I'm raiding. As far as bars go, I use Dominoes. It's very easy to customize. It works well. I've been using it for years. I like it. My battle text, mixed scrolling battle text, they just finally updated this for 5.1. I recommend anybody get it. It also works well if you're having trouble keeping track of your cooldowns, your Tiger Eye Brew, things like that, because it pops up and shows you how many stacks you have at certain, you can set how many. So mine pops up at 5 stacks and lets me know that I have 5 stacks of Tiger Eye Brew. It's time to melt some face. Next one, Omni CC. This is a cooldown timer for my bars. Just puts a little timer clock on there. Makes it a little bit easier for me. I've actually been using that since vanilla. Postal, it's a mail. It's for my mail. It's a mail add-on. No big deal. You don't really need that. Recount, damage meter. Reforge Light. I've told everybody about this. Reforge Light is, yeah, if you've watched any of my newer videos that have talking about stats, I recommend this. If you're level 90 and you have a certain hit cap and expertise cap and things like that that you need to hit, doesn't matter what spec or class you are, this is a very good add-on for you. It will do all the hard calculations and get you as close to that cap as possible. So for instance, you can see my hit cap for PvP is 3%. It gets me to 3.1. My expertise cap is 6%. It gets me to 6.02. That's pretty damn good. Okay, that's Reforge Light. And then X Pearl. This is my unit frames. This is the only other add-on that I use, and I've been using this for years. The only reason I use this other than the Blizzard UI is because it's a little bit fancier and it's easier for me to read. Yeah, it's just easier for me to read and see the health and things like that. Especially if I'm healing or tanking, I can keep an eye on my party and raid a little bit better than I can with the Blizzard UI. Blizzard UI is fine, but this is just easier for me to see and read. And that's it. That's add-ons. Nice and easy. Okay, let's go to macros. Macros, I really don't use very many. And I know everybody wants the one-shot macro. I'll do that last because I'll throw some clips in, at least one clip in of me using it, so you can see what it looks like. First of all, I use a Rising Sun Kick macro. Basically, it's cast sequence reset equal 4. So it's going to be Rising Sun Kick. Once I use Rising Sun Kick for 4 seconds, it's going to be Touch of Death. This is mainly for arena, where I use my Touch of Death glyph, and yeah, basically if I get somebody close to that 10%, I'm gonna just spam the crap out of that and hope I get my Touch of Death off. And yeah, it just makes it easier for me. That's the bottom line. So it's nice and handy, and sometimes it can mean the match. Okay, the next macro I use is just a buff macro. It's just a cast sequence, my buffs, and that's all it is. It just puts my buffs all in one button. Nice and easy. I use a lot of key bindings, so I need that extra button. And then finally, the one-shot macro. Boom. Basically, all this is first of all, you got to understand, you want to have stacks of Tiger Eye Brew before you use this. You don't want to just jump into a fight and blow your macro. You need to fight and use, at least have 1 or 2 stacks of Tiger Eye Brew before you use this. Please do that, because it makes such a big difference. But anyway, what it does is cast Tiger Eye Brew. It uses my DPS trinket, which is still blue, but whatever. And energizing brew, because it's not truly a one-shot macro. It's basically is just a huge beastie DPS cooldown, and once in a while you get some really huge crits. You might 150, 200k, but not very often. It really doesn't happen that often. Okay, we got add-ons, we got macros. Let's talk keybindings really quickly, because my keybinds are absolutely not the most efficient way for anybody to learn how to play, period. But it's the way I'm most comfortable with, and that's the most important thing, especially if you're just learning to use keybinds. Make sure you're comfortable. Find where your fingers fit best and use those. As I said, well, I'll tell you what, this is a picture of my keyboard. It's not this is much nicer than my keyboard, because my keyboard doesn't have any numbers or letters left on it for the most part. They're all worn off. But yeah, I have a Logitech. It's great. I've had it for years, and they don't make it anymore, so I can't replace it, which is a shame, because I would buy the same one over again if I could. Anyway, so all of these colored in numbers and letters are my hotkeys. I use every one of those that is colored in. So I'm just going to go through them really quickly, and then I'm going to explain my movement, because a lot of people ask me about that as well. First of all, I use my number pad. Yeah, I do. Number pad 1, 2, 3. Number pad 0 is always an oh crap button. Oh shit button. Number pad 4, number pad 7. The rest of my number pad is over here. Usually it's for like silly things like macros for my train emote and Path of Blossoms, Turtle Shell. It's 8, 9, 5, 6, exactly how it is on the keyboard. I actually use my up and down, left, right arrows as hotkeys. Left, up, down, right. And then I use R, T, Y, U as alternates as well. Now, I rest my fingers on number 2 and number 5. You can see I put those in red over here. And that is actually my strafe keys. Yeah, strafe off of a cliff. But anyway, yeah, those are my strafe keys, believe it or not. That is where my fingers rest. That is what's comfortable for me. So we'll get into movement in a second. I do have all of my F keys and all of my number keys hotkeyed. Okay, my fingers rest, like I said, on 2 and 5, and everything around those are my important abilities, because I can reach them without moving my hand. And as they get less important or less used, they're farther up the list, like my mount, my PvP trinket, healing sphere. Now healing sphere is one you hit the hotkey and then it drops it, and you can just click. But anyway, I don't mean click. I mean like this. Like that. Anyway. And that's really it for my hotkeys. As far as movement goes, here is a picture of my mouse. Okay, so I'm using a Cooler Master Storm Spawn Claw Grip mouse. It is a $30 job from Amazon. It's 4 buttons. Yeah, that's right, I don't have a Naga. I don't have an expensive mouse or anything like that. I live in a house full of children who are just itching for the opportunity to rip my mouse from my computer and destroy it. And if that were to happen to an expensive mouse, I would be distraught. If that happens to my $30 mouse, I'm still going to be really pissed, but I'm not going to kill anybody. This is a great mouse. It's 3500 DPI. It's really hard to beat. It's a lot of bang for your buck. And the only complaint I have is I have really big hands, and it is a tiny little mouse. But other than that, it works great. So there's the picture of it. You can see how I have it bound. My front side button is my next target, so that's what that does. There you go. Auto run is this button here, and then I actually have my reverse, my backup, my S key on my middle mouse click. That's right, I'm not an S keyer. I don't even have S key bound. Oh, it's the same thing, it's on your mouse. Yeah, I know, but this is, let me show you the difference between my gameplay and an S keyer. This is an S keyer right here. What I'm doing right now is S keying. That's S key. Okay? That's not how I play at all. What I do is I actually incorporate all of my movement keys into my gameplay. I would say it's very hard to do that. It's just the way that I've done it for so long that I don't even realize I'm doing it. So you'll see me run around the target, and you might see me go frontwards and backwards like this. And most of that is to try and keep myself square to the target so that I'm always dodging and parrying. It's a tank thing that I've just always done. And that's the way that I play. It's not really S-keying. I would say it's more advanced than most people's movement skills. But yeah, not to toot my own horn, it's might not even be it might be less effective than the S-keying. But most players will run through their target. They'll go like this. They don't S-key at all, and they'll spin really quickly, and that's what they do. And at some point, they give up their back. They can take a hit in the back, and you know, that's the reason that I try not to do that. I still do it sometimes. I still do, but you'll see me. I try to keep myself with the target in front of me at all times, and yeah, that's what I do. Now, if you want to practice movement like that, I highly recommend doing it around a target dummy. That makes life very easy, and it's really great practice. And if you're just learning to not be a clicker, as most clickers at this point know, if you're new to the game and new to hotkeys, you know that it's not the most efficient way to play. Clicking your abilities, you can get away with it, but it's not the most efficient way. So if you're trying to learn how to not do that, running around a target dummy, finding comfortable key bindings, and just practicing using your important abilities as you run around in a circle. And that's really the best way that you could possibly practice. But anyway, that's all. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this has helped. I hope this has answered some of your questions. If you have any other questions, please leave comments below. Don't forget to check my Facebook. I'm always around over there, and yeah, show me some love. Anyway, this is Eatmopie. I'll see ya.